Hi, my name is Ben Levy. I'm an art historian and a trained printmaker. We're here at the 2017 Fine Art Print Fair at the Javits Center. So a lot of printmaking has to do with technique, but really at the heart of technique is a whole variety of decisions and opportunities for an artist to see their vision come to life. Lithographs, woodcuts, screen prints, etchings, engravings, all of these different things. There's a lot to learn about the technique, how things were made, and how those things change throughout time. But really what you should think about is that all of those are decisions and choices that the artist makes. Some of those techniques really lend themselves to a certain kind of imagery, to a certain kind of distribution, to a certain scale, to the ability to work well in color. All of these different variables are at an artist's disposal. So here at a place such as Tamarind Institute in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they are a contemporary publisher and workshop, meaning that artists are invited in to work with the master printer who has a great wealth of expertise in lithography in this case. These works from Gallery Saint Etienne show that artists working throughout multiple mediums, they're bringing the same artistic sensibilities to whatever they're doing. So here we have a sculpture as well as two large prints by Leonard Baskin, and they're both woodcuts. You really get a sense for the artist's mark making in both 3 dimensions and 2 dimensions, and you also realize how 3-dimensional that 2 dimensions are. One of the great parts of coming to the Fine Art Print Fair is not only you get to see the works of art in real life, but also the workshops and publishers often have other work by those artists, as well as fun things like this Richard Serra plate. Seeing things like wood blocks or plates that the galleries might have with them really helps understand the works of art that are on the wall. It's clear when you're standing in front of them the amount of ink that's hanging on those pieces of paper, and that weight is very much like what you would think of when you think of Richard Serra. So this copper plate is from a smaller print, and the deeply bitten, thick copper plate is then covered in ink, and the surface is wiped away. The inked copper plate is then put through the press with a piece of paper, and the immense pressure that the printing press puts on the paper pushes that paper down into the grooves and the areas in the plate. So in the final product, you can see not only the ink that's hanging on that paper, but you can also see the grooves and the topography of that plate that have been impressed into the paper. This wall of engravings really speaks to the community that's inherent in printmaking. Here we see 2 engravings by Albrecht Dürer and 1 engraving by Martin Schongauer, both masters of engraving from the 15th and 16th centuries. Along with those traditional works, we have 3 engravings by the German artist Anton Wirth. All 3 artists seen here are using the exact same technique of engraving, one of the fundamental processes of printmaking. The chalice that appears in Albrecht Dürer's Nemesis from around 1500 appears 3 times in Anton Wirth's engraving in 2017. This speaks to the community amongst printmakers. The fact that prints are in multiples means that you can physically have the artwork of your predecessors. Anton Wirth spent time with great art that influenced him, from Albrecht Dürer and Martin Schongauer, to create his own work, to learn from his predecessors.
I'm Michelle Senegal, Executive Director of the IFPDA, and this wall perfectly illustrates everything you can find at the Fine Art Print Fair, from 15th century engravings by the world's great masters to contemporary artists and everything in between. Thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you next year.